Once upon a time, a herd of elephants lived out on the African savanna. They were a friendly bunch and often traveled to visit their relatives who liked rare gifts. One fine day, the elephants managed to trick some bees into giving them honey, and they thought it was such a wonderful reward that they should bring it as a present to their family. So off they went. One of the elephants was stronger than the others and had never suffered from aches or illness, so they loaded the honey into sacks and hung them on his back for him to carry. After a few hours of walking, they passed a hare who sat in the shade by a river. When the hare saw them, she jumped up. "Oh, kind elephants," she said, "I wish to cross this river, but the water is too deep for my poor little legs. You there, Mr. Elephant. You must be very strong if you're carrying those sacks. Surely a little hair wouldn't be too much extra weight for you to carry." The elephant gave a kind smile and said, "Of course, little hare. Hop on my back and I'll take you across the river and further if you'd like." The hare climbed onto the elephant's back and the great animals swam through the water. The hare was curious as to what the elephant had in the sacks, so she leant over and smelt them. When she realized that they contained honey, she was thrilled, and two whole bags as well. The hare hadn't eaten all day, and suddenly her stomach felt quite empty. She looked around to see if any of the other elephants were watching, but they were all too focused on swimming, so she dipped a paw into one of the sacks and took out a big piece of honey to eat. "This must be the sweetest honey I've ever tasted," thought the hare, "but I should try some more, just to be sure." So the hare took another piece, and then another, until she was emptying out the last remains of the sack. Suddenly, she realized what she'd done, and she feared how the elephants would react when they found out. They could crush her under their feet like a piece of fruit. They were coming out of the water now, and one of them only needed to turn their head to see what had happened. Fortunately, the hare was wily, and she thought of a perfect way to work herself out of this situation. "Oh, Mr. Elephant," said the hare, "I am quite bored up here. Could you give me a stone to play with?" The elephant nodded, picked up a stone with his trunk, and threw it to the hare. She dropped the stone into the empty bag of honey and then said, "Mr. Elephant, may I have another stone? You see, I dropped the first one and I want to throw it at the birds." So the elephant threw her another stone, and she dropped it in the bag. She continued this way, filling up the whole sack with stones to replace the honey. She should have stopped there and got off the elephant's back, and perhaps they would have forgiven her. But this hare was too wily. She never knew when to stop, so she ate up the second bag of honey and then asked for more stones to replace it. "Well, Mr. Elephant," said the hare, rubbing her stomach, "it looks like we've reached my stop. Thanks again for the ride. Goodbye." And the hare hopped off the elephant's back and ran away. The elephants waved goodbye with their trunks, unaware of the trick that had just been played on them. However, when they reached their destination and found that the bags were full of stones, it did not take them long to realize what had happened. "It was that damn hare," said the elephant. "She stole my honey. I'll get her for this." So the elephant chased after the hare. Although he was strong and muscular, he was surprisingly fast, and he caught up to the hare within minutes. She had stopped for a rest in the shade, and when she saw him coming, it was already too late. "You nasty little hare," cried the elephant. He grabbed her tail with his trunk and pulled on it so hard that he ripped the skin off. The hare took the opportunity to run away, leaving her tail fur lying on the savanna. "Not so fast," cried the elephant. "I'm going to get you." The hare dashed madly, desperate to escape from the angry elephant. As she ran, she passed by some farmers. "Hey, you farmers," she cried. "Do you see that elephant over there? You better get going because he's running after you." So, along with the hare, the farmers ran away. When the elephant saw them, he thought that they must be running after the hare and ran after them. "Hey, you farmers," he panted. "Have you seen a wily little hare with a skinned tail around here?" Relieved, the farmers pointed and said, "She went that way." So the elephant ran off in that direction. Meanwhile, the hare passed by some women cooking outside their houses. "Hey, you cooking women," she cried. "Do you see that elephant over there? You should get going because he's running after you." So the women dropped their spoons and ran inside, hiding in the dark. The elephant saw them doing this, however, and thought they must have caught the hare. "Hey, you lovely women," he said. "Have you seen a wily little hare with a skinned tail around here?" Relieved, the women pointed and said, "She went that way." So once again, the elephant chased the hare. Meanwhile, the hare ran across a herd of antelopes who were lazily eating grass in the afternoon sun. "Hey, you antelopes," she said. "Do you see that elephant over there? You should get going because he's running after you." The antelopes spat out their grass and ran, and it took the elephant a good while to catch up to them. "Hey, you elegant antelopes," he said. "You run very fast. But have you seen a wily little hare with a skinned tail around here?" Relieved, the antelopes nodded their heads in the direction of the hare. Finally, the hare arrived at a group of hares. "Hey, my fellow hares," she said. "Do you see that elephant over there? You should all skin your tails right away because he's looking for a hare with skin on its tail, and if he finds one, he'll crush them like a piece of fruit." So the hares hopped around madly, skinning each other's tails until there was a great big pile of fur on the ground. When the elephant arrived, he looked around and said, "Hey, you clever little hares. I am looking for one of your kind, a wily little hare that likes to play tricks on people. She has a skinned tail which should make her easy to find." But in response, the hares simply turned around and raised their tails in the air, revealing that they were all skinned. Now the elephant didn't know what to do. He was sure that the honey thief was hiding among the hares, but he had no way of telling her apart from the others. "Damn hares!" cried the elephant. "I should crush you all for such a nasty trick. But luckily for you, I am not the violent type." And so the elephant headed home, his family visit ruined. And from that day on, he never helped a hare again.